10 extraordinary individuals reshaped the world beyond all recognition. Their discoveries rewrote the fundamental rules of existence for every human who followed after them. From the printing press to the theory of relativity, from germs to computation, these minds forged the modern world we take for granted. We trace their journey from the 15th century to the 20th century, each building on the shoulders of those who came before. These are not just names tucked away in a dusty textbook. They are the architects who built everything you experience every single day. It all began with a single idea that changed everything. Johannes Gutenberg gave the world the printing press around the year 1440. Before his press existed, every single book was copied entirely by hand. A single Bible manuscript could take one devoted scribe 2 full years to produce. His movable type system allowed pages to be printed in hours instead of months. Knowledge exploded outward at a speed no one imagined. The Gutenberg Bible stood as his greatest masterpiece. 48 copies were carefully printed, and each one represented a miracle of mechanical precision. For the very first time, ordinary people could finally own their own books. Literacy spread rapidly across Europe like wildfire sweeping across dry grass. The Renaissance, the Reformation, and the Scientific Revolution. None of these monumental movements would have happened without the printing press serving as their driving engine. Gutenberg died poor and largely forgotten by his contemporaries, but his brilliant invention democratized human knowledge forever. Written words finally became accessible to everyone. He gave us the tool that would launch every other revolution to follow, the first spark in an unbroken chain of discovery. In 1609, a Florentine mathematician named Galileo Galilei pointed a telescope at the night sky and shattered everything people believed about the universe. He discovered 4 moons orbiting Jupiter, conclusively proving that not everything in the heavens revolved around the Earth as prevailing church doctrine had always insisted. The moon showed craters, not a perfect smooth sphere. Venus changed phases like the Earth. The heavens were not perfect after all. He boldly championed the Copernican heliocentric model. The sun, not the Earth, sat at the true center of the entire solar system. The Roman Inquisition demanded he renounce his findings. In 1633, 70-year-old Galileo was forced to recant under threat of torture. Legend says that as he rose from his knees, he whispered under his breath, "And yet it moves," defiance in the face of dogma. His pioneering writings on motion and gravity laid the solid foundation for classical mechanics. Newton would build directly upon his groundbreaking work. Persecuted in life, Galileo became the symbol of scientific truth. The man who proved the Earth moved and changed how we see ourselves forever. In 1665, a plague struck Cambridge. A young Isaac Newton returned home to Woolsthorpe, where a falling apple sparked an intellectual revolution. He formulated the law of universal gravitation. The same force that pulled the apple also held the moon in orbit around the Earth. His 3 laws of motion described how every physical object in the universe actually behaves. Nothing moves anywhere without obeying Newton-established rules. In 1687, he published the monumental Principia Mathematica. It remains the single most important scientific book ever written by any human mind. He invented the reflecting telescope, discovered that white light splits into a beautiful spectrum of colors, and independently helped invent calculus itself. His work explained planetary orbits, tides, and the motion of falling bodies with a single unifying mathematical framework that still holds today. Newton was a deeply private man, completely consumed by his work and equally obsessed with alchemy and theology throughout his long life. He stood on Galileo's shoulders and boldly reached for the distant stars. Everything that followed in science and engineering built directly upon his enduring foundation. From bridges spanning great rivers to spacecraft exploring distant planets, Newton's laws remain the bedrock of all engineering. 300 years later, they remain perfectly accurate. On a stormy night in 1752, Benjamin Franklin flew a kite with a metal key through a thunderstorm and proved that lightning was electricity. He was born in 1706 to a humble soap maker in Boston. He apprenticed as a printer and taught himself everything he knew. As a brilliant statesman, he helped write the Declaration of Independence and negotiated the crucial peace treaty that secured American freedom for generations. His famous kite experiment led directly to the invention of the lightning rod, protecting countless buildings and saving innumerable lives from destructive fire. He also invented bifocal glasses, the efficient Franklin stove, and the foundational concept of positive and negative electric charge used daily in science. He founded the very first public library in America, established the first volunteer fire department, and helped create a national postal system. Franklin died in 1790, leaving a nation stronger than the one he was born into. He was a diplomat, inventor, and founding father. Every lightning rod on every building in the modern world honors his courage. Every electrical circuit carries the same electricity he first dared to touch. In 1831, a 22-year-old Charles Darwin boarded the HMS Beagle for a voyage that would last 5 years and change biology forever. In the Galapagos Islands, he noticed that finches on different islands had different beak shapes, each perfectly adapted to their food source. These crucial observations planted a seed deep in his mind. Species were not fixed and unchanging after all. They evolved gradually over time through natural selection. He returned to England and spent 2 decades gathering meticulous evidence, deeply terrified that his radical theory would upset the entire established world. In 1859, he finally published On the Origin of Species. The book sold out on its first day and sparked immediate global debate. His theory explained how life diversified from common ancestors. Every organism on Earth shared a single origin, stretching back billions of years. The church condemned his revolutionary ideas. Critics attacked him publicly and fiercely, but the accumulating evidence was overwhelming and could simply not be ignored. Darwin died in 1882 and was buried in Westminster Abbey beside Isaac Newton. His theory of evolution remains the cornerstone of all biology. From a young naturalist on a sailing ship to the architect of evolutionary biology, Darwin showed us that life is a story of endless adaptation. Louis Pasteur was born in 1822 in a small French village. He discovered that invisible microorganisms caused fermentation and disease, overturning centuries of belief. His elegant swan neck flask experiment proved that life does not arise spontaneously from nothing. Germs floating in the air caused all spoilage and infection. He developed life-saving vaccines for anthrax and rabies, saving countless human and animal lives worldwide. His pioneering work created the entire field of immunology. His pasteurization process heats liquids to kill harmful bacteria, a technique still used in every single dairy product you consume every day today. Pasteur said that nothing has a greater influence than the study of microscopic life. His discoveries saved more lives than any physician in history. He received every honor France could bestow upon him and refused the noble title of Count. His quiet humility perfectly matched his scientific genius. Pasteur gave us the fundamental understanding that invisible worlds shape our daily health. Every antibiotic and every modern vaccine traces back to his humble microscope. Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in a small Croatian village. As a child, he watched a sparking machine that sealed his destiny forever. He arrived in New York in 1884 with nearly nothing in his pockets and was hired by Thomas Edison to work on early electrical systems. Tesla invented alternating current, which could travel vast distances without losing power, unlike the Edison direct current system that struggled over short ranges. Their rivalry became the famous War of Currents. Tesla alternating current won decisively when it brilliantly powered the 1893 Chicago World Exposition. The Niagara Falls power station used Tesla innovative turbines to send electricity all the way to the bright lights of New York City. He dreamed of wireless energy transmission. His massive Wardenclyffe Tower was designed to beam electrical power across the entire globe without a single wire. He could withstand thousands of volts of electricity flowing directly on his body. People called him the visionary man who truly invented the 20th century. Tesla held over 300 patents and invented the radio, remote control, and neon lighting among many other groundbreaking innovations that shaped our world. He died in 1943, living alone in his New York hotel room, largely forgotten by the public that benefited from his genius. Every time you plug a device into a wall outlet, you use Tesla current. The man who lit the world deserved to be its brightest star. In 1898, Marie Curie and her husband Pierre discovered radium and polonium in a cramped Paris laboratory, working with tons of pitchblende ore by hand. Born in Poland in 1867, she moved to Paris to study at the Sorbonne, one of the few women admitted to that prestigious institution. She coined the revolutionary word radioactivity and proved that certain elements emitted invisible rays of energy from deep within their fundamental atomic structure. In 1903, she became the very first woman to win a Nobel Prize in physics, shared jointly with Pierre and Henri Becquerel. During the First World War, she built mobile X-ray units and drove them to the front lines, personally operating them for wounded soldiers. In 1911, she won a second Nobel Prize in chemistry for her discoveries. She remains the only person to win Nobels in two different sciences. Pierre died in 1906 in a tragic street accident, leaving Marie a young widow with two small daughters and an unfinished mission. Radiation therapy for cancer exists entirely because of her groundbreaking research. Every patient treated with modern radiotherapy carries her torch forward bravely. Her own research notebooks remain dangerously radioactive to this day, a permanent testament to the dedicated work that ultimately cost her life in 1934. Marie Curie lit the world with a new understanding of matter. Her radiant glow illuminates every hospital on Earth to this very day. Alan Turing was born in 1912 in London. As a boy, he was fascinated by mechanics and puzzles, traits that would define his extraordinary life. In 1936, he published a paper describing a theoretical machine that could compute anything computable, laying the foundation for all modern computers. When World War II began, Turing was sent to the secret estate at Bletchley Park to crack the German Enigma military code. His design for the Colossus computer helped decrypt thousands of Nazi messages each night, shortening the war by an estimated 2 years. The Enigma machine could produce 159 million possible settings. Turing bomb tested them all at extraordinary speed and broke the code every single night. He also proposed the famous Turing test, asking the question that still drives artificial intelligence research today. Can a machine truly think? Turing worked relentless 16-hour days, driven by an unwavering belief that saving countless human lives was worth every single sleepless night behind those machines. After the war, he pioneered computer science at Manchester University, designing the architecture of modern computers before the very word even existed. In 1954, at age 41, Turing died from cyanide poisoning after eating a poisoned apple. His contribution was recognized only decades later. Every smartphone, every laptop, and every AI system traces its conceptual origin directly back to Alan Turing's extraordinary and brilliant mind today. The British government apologized in 2009 and issued him a posthumous pardon. His name now lives on banknotes and in the hearts of millions. Albert Einstein was a quiet patent clerk in Bern when he produced the single most important year in all the history of physics. His famous equation showed that mass and energy are actually the same thing. A tiny amount of mass could produce enormous energy. The theory of general relativity described gravity not as a force, but as the curvature of space and time caused by massive objects. During the 1919 solar eclipse, his prediction that starlight bends around the sun was confirmed. Einstein instantly became a global overnight celebrity. He won the Nobel Prize in 1921 for explaining the photoelectric effect, a discovery that single-handedly launched the entire field of quantum mechanics. Beyond physics, Einstein was a passionate advocate for lasting peace, civil rights, and nuclear disarmament throughout his long and distinguished public life. He carried a violin everywhere and found that music deeply helped him think. "Imagination is more important than knowledge," he once said. His letter to President Roosevelt warned urgently about atomic energy and helped launch the Manhattan Project that produced the first nuclear weapon. He believed that anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. His insatiable curiosity knew absolutely no boundaries. Even his preserved brain continues to inspire modern research, a final gift of scientific understanding from the greatest mind of the 20th century. Einstein taught us that the universe is fundamentally understandable. His wonder at the cosmos inspired generations of scientists who followed his path. Their legacy lives not in statues. It exists in every book you read, every light you switch on, and every bold question you dare to ask. The next great discovery may well belong to someone watching the stars right now. The unbroken chain of human curiosity continues today. 10 brilliant minds, 10 world-changing revolutions, one shared human curiosity that transformed our world beyond all reasonable imagination and shaped everything we become.